inside Design Construction Week, inside the Da Vinci Roofscapes booth with my wife, Theresa.
My husband, Mark, and...
Justin Fink, real-life carpenter, real-life editor, real-life expert at Fine Home Building Magazine, one of the best titles out there, with real advice, real technique, and real people who care about building homes well.
Okay, repeat that back to us.
That was a really good intro.
I know, it was awesome, right?
I was hoping I could just sit here for a little while, though, because it's so comfortable. I didn't know we had to talk.
Well, that's it, the intro, and then it's over.
Your lower thirds are really long. Like you see your eyeballs, and then it's just like your title all the way down
That's
the
why
screen.
I like it, yeah.
No, I mean, that's what informs the editorial there, though, is you guys build stuff.
It is, yeah. I work 5 days a week in the office and write about this stuff, but every Saturday and Sunday, all day long, I work. I have a real legitimate business. It's not just for street cred. I'm out there making money. I'm doing a siding job right now in the middle of the freezing cold winter. I got a big old black and blue thumbnail to prove that I'm out there.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
so,
Did you go through that? That's disgusting. That's for sure.
Yeah.
There's no question. Any
Chicks
kind of-
dig it.
So you're juggling 2 jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an editor, so I need a second job.
That is a fair point. Fair point.
And not only are you doing that,
A little bit for us. We're doing a lot more video than we ever used to do. We have a great video producer right now, and he's bringing in a lot of experience, showing us the ropes, showing us how we can really get out there and be different than what everybody else is doing. And what we're trying to do to set ourselves apart is, and I don't want to knock anybody, because I watch all the HGTV, the DIY. I grew up on this old house. I love it all. But we're trying to do something that's a little bit more substantial than what you're finding on a lot of the HGTV and DIY shows now. And it's not that they're bad, it's they're going after a different audience than we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
We want the guys, we're not going to cut to commercial at the hard part of the project, It's like when you come to coping the crown molding and fitting it to that uneven wall, that's what people need to know how to do the hard part, So that's what we're really trying to focus on. The premise that we're doing on our show, which is called Project House, is we're going out to the carpenter's jobs. Okay, so we have an expert stair builder. We're going to go shadow him for a week, and I'm just working alongside him. I'm like the Mike Rowe.
Right.
So it's like the Dirty Jobs formula, except for a longer period.
Sure.
So we like to think of it just kind of in our own little private meetings as a mix between This Old House and Dirty Jobs. So you're getting that level of depth and of This Old House, and you're getting that kind of host experience of Dirty Jobs. And so far it's been working pretty well, I think. It's fun.
well, and you get to learn so much from all these people. Like, do you get to pick which, like, you want to know more about stair building, you want to know more about whatever, like, do you get to choose that? And then you can take it back into your other business too, and it helps inform editorial. Like, it's awesome. Well,
one of the cool things about Fine Home Building is it's very community oriented. So it's like this network of people giving back to other people. So it's like, we want you to write for Fine Home Building. And they're like, oh, we would love to. We've been reading it for 15 years.
Yeah.
I've gotten so much information from it. What could I possibly give back? And you always go, you don't even know how much you know. These carpenters just do it all day. And they have no idea how much of what they do every day is so unique and so
important to other people.
And that this guy in Arkansas has never heard of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when we get to meet these guys and hang out with them for a week and work with them, you're kind of giving back. You're sharing tips from other jobs you've been on. Like, hey, Mark, I went to the other siding job and I saw the way they do this. Let me show you if we can incorporate it into the video. And they say, oh, I do it this way. And it becomes this big kind of crowdsourced knowledge for building, which is really, really fun.
What an awesome community of knowledge. Because I don't know of a place other than what you're describing, of a place to go and get that. I mean, because like on TV, people get inspired and you want to do that in your house or make that in your house or hire someone to do that in your home, or just want to enjoy watching someone do a project. But then when you actually want to get down to, okay, how do I actually do it? What tools do I use? What material should I buy? What are techniques that people have used?
And what do I do when I try to dig these footing holes and the ground is hard as a rock?
Right.
What's my end around? Like, you're talking about process and knowing what to do. And
The real life.
Yeah, in real life.
Because that's where it gets built.
That's where you nail some boards together, and it goes from inspiration to real inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, you know, building is problem solving. That's why we're in remodeling, right? That's why we love it. It's something new challenge. You go, well, how am I going to get out of this? You know, and that's where it gets interesting.
Now, is the video project starting to inform the editorial in the magazine too?
We're kind of viewing it as separate. There is going to be a companion article for each video, and that's going to go in the magazine. But we are thinking of them as separate. So let's say we're trying to fill a certain niche in the magazine, like, oh, we need a framing story for this issue. The video might be that framing story, but it's not necessarily informing it. We like to keep it on the same level of content, though. You know, it's gonna be deep, and some channels like HGTV or DIY aren't necessarily gonna go to that level, and that's because they're trying to hit a different broad audience, which is great. But we're happy with a much smaller audience that loves us for being niche, and we're gonna keep on being niche.
Are you coming up with a million different, like, those little tips that DIYers can use or that pros can use that save you a minute, like how to coil your extension cords, or
that's so funny you mentioned that.
How to organize your gun hoses, or that kind of stuff. So you have one?
We were in a big brainstorming meeting last week, and everybody was talking about ideas of what we could do for the magazine. We should do this, we should do this, and I'm sitting next to Colin, and I lean over my paper and I write, we should do quick tips. And I go, and we just got up and walked out of the room, went to my office, and we started brainstorming a video series, and we started doing it. They're gonna be like 1 minute long little clips, and it's gonna be just that. Imagine like a database, or like Google. You go on and you go, the first 3 words are how do I, and then there's a box. Type in whatever you want. Nail fiber cement siding, cut tile backer board, you know, install vapor barrier, and then you just get a 1 minute video just showing you that and nothing else.
Because that is so perfect, because that's what happens when you're in the middle of a project.
And that's what you're looking up.
I need to know just that one thing.
Yes.
I don't want to have like 20 minutes of how to do the entire project. I just want to know how I cut this.
Yes.
What tool?
Yep.
What blade do I use?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
So we're gonna get into that, and that's kind of our exciting thing. We're gonna do that in 2014 here.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
That is really awesome.
And on real jobs too, not in the studio. Not we're making it up. It's gonna be
and I love those
on-site.
things that save 2 minutes, that save a headache, because that all adds up.
Yep.
And whether you're doing it for a living, you need to save 2 minutes because that's money. Or you're a DIYer, you just don't store an extension cord in a bucket. There's a better way to do it, so when you take it out to do your project, it just unrolls.
Well, you know, there's two different, there's the tips aspect, and then there's the skills aspect. The tips are time saving and how do I get this done efficiently and smartly, and the skills aspect is just for that crowd who doesn't necessarily know how to do it. Like, how do I fill holes in AZEC trim?
Yeah.
It's like, we're gonna show you.
For the guys that do know how to do it and they're listening and they're like, I want to share my tips with you. Do you have people like emailing you guys at the magazine?
Not
like,
nearly enough. I would love to get 100 emails a day with guys telling me about tips.
Yeah.
They can go right on our website and submit them right there. FineHomeBuilding.com.
There's guys all over the country that have awesome tips and things that can help and contribute to. And then,
but they don't know that what they have is great. I just encourage people to.
It is. This is a
share.
weird world where there's so many individual people who live down the street or across the country, and until these kinds of videos, it's hard to connect.
So if they share their tips, would they be in the running for you to actually go out there and do something with them for video?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because that would probably get people more excited too.
We are always looking for new builders.
Okay.
And not just builders. We're talking about plumbers, electricians, everybody involved in the mix. Okay. Male, female.
That's awesome.
So where do they email? Where do people go to email?
Well, they're gonna.
What's your home phone number?
And your social security number? Can I have a sample DNA? Sample?
Well, you know, I prefer if they show up in person.
Oh, good.
And there'll be a written essay. No, we're gonna. If they go to FineHomeBuilding.com/project-house, that's how they're gonna get to our specific TV show. Or you can just go to FineHomeBuilding.com in general, and you're gonna find a lot of submittal forms and addresses there where you can send in tips, and you can view everybody else's tips.
All right,
it's a very community-based
challenge. We want to see it happen.
Yes.
We want Justin Fink, editor, carpenter, and real dealer at Fine Home Building, flooded with tips and tricks.
Yes.
In the meantime, we're going to drain ourselves on out of here. We'll be back with more of My Fix It Up Life.